Here.
Commissioner Peterson. Commissioner Lucero.
Present.
Commissioner Craig. Here. Commissioner Thompson. Kenny.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Would you all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sorry, do we need to mention the commissioners that are not here or call roll for all of them?
Good, yes. Commissioner Sanchez has an excused absence, and Chair Terlesky is not here today.
Thank you.
Okay, item 1, approval of minutes. Approval of regular meeting minutes of September 23rd, 2025.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written from Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item 2, call to the public. Comments from the public. Those wishing to address the commission should fill out request forms in advance. Comments from the public will be restricted to items not on the agenda, with the exception of those on the consent agenda. There will be no comments allowed that advertise for a particular person or group. Comments should be limited to no longer than 3 minutes. The commission may not respond to speakers during the call to the public. The commission may direct the staff to study the matter or request that the matter be placed on a future agenda.
We do not have any.
Okay. Item 3, action items, and we have none of those, is that correct? Okay. Item 4, reports. A, Palo Christi Elementary School update. Kingman Unified School District Superintendent Gretchen Dorner will provide the commission with an update on the Palo Christi School project. Information only.
I apologize, I didn't get a mic for myself. I have not heard anything from Dr. Dorner, so I presume she's, have you, Josh? You heard anything?
I think you're the one that reached out to her last week and then sent a reminder.
Yes.
And so, yeah, if she's not here and she's not signed on to the Zoom, then I guess we can move on to the next presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. B, Route 66 New American Society of Civil Engineers National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. The American Society of Civil Engineers Arizona Section History and Heritage Committee is inviting the City of Kingman and the Arizona Route 66 Museum to participate in a statewide initiative commemorating Route 66 designation as an ASCE National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. They propose installing commemorative plaques in Arizona Route 66 communities, including Kingman, and opportunities for collaboration on presentations and exhibits related to ASCE, NHCEL, and the centennial celebration of Route 66. Information only.
Thank you. Seth Chalmers, I'm the chair of the Arizona sections of American Society of Civil Engineers History and Heritage Committee. Can you see my screen? I'm sorry, can you see my screen?
Yeah, yes, we can
Yes.
see the screen. So,
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I'm typically a technology victim, not necessarily a user, and I'll see if I can advance it now. Okay, there we go. Now you're seeing it. So anyway, just want to let you know that of course, the centennial of Route 66 is next year. And then also it's been designated as a National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. And I've got to hand it to Kingman. You guys are all in when it comes to Route 66. It's very inspirational what you've accomplished in your city to honor Route 66. I'm a civil engineer and also a traffic engineer. This is the letter that we sent you all asking you to participate in this program. And there's a disclaimer, it does not restrict the city in any regard. It's a totally voluntary program that's been around for quite a few years with ASC, and I'll get into a little more detail on that. Of course, we know about the history and Angel Delgado and his role and what Seligman did in terms of making the movement about Historic 66. And then there's a part of it that's actually an ADOT system between Seligman and Kingman, as well as below Kingman all the way down to the California border. There's a lot of information. I was a neophyte when I first got into this program, and I've been doing a lot of reading. I've developed a fairly lengthy presentation about Route 66, more from the transportation standpoint, as I'm a traffic engineer. So it's a little more of a civil engineering project, my point of view, but its heritage and impact on society has been great.
I'm sorry,
Of
Seth.
course, yeah.
Are you advancing on slides on your side? We're still on the first slide here.
Oh, yeah, gosh. Thank you for letting me know that. And again, I'm more of a victim here than, let's see. So you've seen this one now?
Yes, we can see the first slide.
Do you see the second slide?
There we go. Yes.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, I'll just stay in this and not in presentation mode, sorry. Here's what I just talked about, and I won't repeat it. Here's the letter. I talked about Angel, the section of Route 66 that's on the state system. More about the historic background, and the Arizona Memory Project has got a tremendous amount of information on Route 66. These are just some of the nicknames that Route 66 has. Of course, it was established in 1926. And actually, the route itself got its backing from by a military study that was done by Pershing back in 1922. Then it became known as one of the old National Old Trails Road Association. So this is where Route 66 came from, if you weren't aware of that. ADOT did a study a few years back to do the history of highway transportation in Arizona, and this is just some of the background that it has in that document and the named routes that were at the time. Nothing was numbered. The only state in the union that had numbered routes was in Wisconsin. But interesting enough, Harry Truman was the president of the National Old Trails Road Association. So that's really where Route 66 got its presence. Interesting enough, it has kind of an unfortunate nickname, and I'm in traffic safety. I'm the Arizona safety circuit rider for ADOT. That's a program that we reach out to the counties and the cities to help them with their road safety. And unfortunately, at the time in '56, that was known as the Bloody 66. But now this is the National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark, and there's a lot of big landmarks around the country and the world. I'll talk about those in a little bit more. And this is the announcement that ASCE did regarding the naming of the whole route as a National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. But the roots of Route 66 go back to 1921 when the federal aid system came into being under President Harding, and it would really emphasize the interconnecting of the states through a laid out highway system that was based on what Pershing studies. There's a lot of other different routes. Lincoln Highway is one of the a part of that US system that was set up in 1926. And it was really confusing prior to the Federal Highway Highway Act of 1921 that kind of brought all those named highways into the US system. And a lot of the US system is still in place today. So this just a little information on the routes and numbers, and I'm not going to get into the big details, but I just show you some of the research we've done in support of this National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. A lot of things came out of this same period in 1926. We got the Uniform Vehicle Code, which was to standardize highway and road laws across the nation, and also the Uniform Traffic Control Devices for streets and highways that has come forward since this time. Here's a snip of the original map of the US system, and you know, the different types of routes. And interesting enough, there's about the same amount of miles that was originally put into the 1926 system are still with us today. It really hasn't increased that much, although we have lots more roads, but a lot of those roads are not necessarily a part of the US numbered system. They're a part of the interstate system, which is a fully separate system, and then also the US route system. But this is the establishment of Route 66 in Arizona. At first it was named 60, and then it was later changed to 66. And this is below I talked about the number of public road miles in the United States. A little more information on the Lincoln Highway. And then we get into the US Highway 66 Association that was really established to promote paving and also tourism along the route. Route 66 goes through 8 different states. It goes from Chicago to California. And this is just some information about the 66 promotion, and really our historic committees are doing the same thing that was done back in here in the 20s and the 30s. This is just some old routes, pictures. Some people believe that Will Rogers Highway it was one of its nicknames, but that came actually from Oklahoma. It really wasn't ever formally set up as the Will Rogers Highway, but it's caught that nickname. Now I'll get a little more information about the ASCE National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark Program. There's landmarks all around the country as well as internationally, and these are some of the more prominent ones like the Eiffel Tower, the Alaskan Highway. So highways have been named prior to Route 66. And really the Historic Landmark Program of ASCE is to increase public appreciation of civil engineering, also inform civil engineers of their historic background, and also preserve those feats of civil engineering and what the impact they've had on our quality of life in our communities. These are some of the Arizona national and state historic landmarks. So there's different types of landmarks. National ones are held to a little higher standard than the state historic landmarks. But here you can see some of the ones that are around the state, Hoover Dam. And that's one of the things that I'm working on in my committee. I think we have a lot more landmarks to get into our state, but these are the ones we have so far. This is one of the ones on the road. So this is what, just an example of the first national road that was done in 1806. So we expect when we do Route 66, we'll do something similar like this. And I really think Kingman is a great city to host one of these plaques. Now, we're not going to ask the city to pay for the plaque. We will do our own fundraising and maybe even go for one of the grants from the Route 66 committee to fund the plaque. And then also if it needs to be maintained or moved, we can always work with you all on that, because we have a state section which covers the whole state, but we also have a Northern Arizona section. This is just some of the historic pictures. This is over on Lupton. And of course, if you get into Route 66, and if you've ever, I have 2 grandsons and they're really into the Cars movie, and there's Arizona all over those movies. So anyway, so I'm asking the committee and the city to look at developing a letter of commitment to host a plaque, and it would be at a site that you would feel appropriate for your city. I think the Route 66 Museum, either on the inside or outside or someplace, maybe one of the parks or whatever you think is a good place to put it. We're willing to work with you to find a good location. Then we would work on getting funding for that. Then we coordinate with you all about where it should be installed and, getting a contractor to install it and all that. So that pretty much finishes my presentation. I would also like to point out that Mojave County with Stephen was very instrumental in getting this started. In fact, we started the Route 66 National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark request to National ASCE, and they shot it back and said, well, let's not just do it in Arizona, let's do it in all 8 states. So this was a cooperative agreement between all the different Route 66 states. So it was quite an accomplishment. It took a couple of years, but here we are, and it's in the centennial of the Route 66. Are there any questions for me? That pretty much concludes my presentation.
Seth, I have a question. First of all, that's amazing that you're making a point to include Route 66, and I apologize if you already said this. What is your time frame that you're thinking if we were to be able to find a spot and get approval for it? What would be your time frame for putting the plaque in? Would it be in the centennial year?
That would be our preference, but we realize these plaques are pretty expensive. The plaque alone is like $2,200, and that doesn't include installation. Our eventual goal is to try to get a plaque in each one of our Route 66 communities or places that's willing to host one and commit to that hosting of it. We've already got a commitment from Ashfork to host a plaque in their community, and we've made the ask to Flagstaff, and I'm giving a presentation to Williams next week. So we're, it depends whatever the process is. As a civil engineer, I'm very patient. If you've ever been in public works, you have to learn to be patient. Any project you want to do, typically takes a year or so. So we're totally willing to work in your time frame in terms of getting the letter of commitment. But what I'm trying to do is get all the letters of commitment, so then we can start doing our fundraising, not only internal to our ASCE section, but also national. National might fund or partially fund a plaque for us. So they're looking at that, and the first step is to get letters of commitment. And we're thinking, we kind of prioritize. We've met with ADOT, and we're working with ADOT and the Navajo to maybe have one in Lupton, because there's a welcome center there, and there's also a one-sided rest area, so we'd only have to have one plaque. So we're looking at that as being our, east side of the state plaque, and then thinking that Kingman would be a great west side of the state. Not saying that other communities can't eventually participate, and then of course something in Flagstaff. So we're thinking like 3 plaques in the first iteration, but the eventual goal is to try to get a plaque in each one of the communities, or something similar to the national plaque if we are not successful in getting it funded. I probably over answered your question.
No, actually, that was it. And then just to double check as well, you had mentioned with the plaque that you were hoping to place it in the Arizona Route 66 Museum?
No, it would be at a place of your choosing and what you think
okay.
would be appropriate. Yeah.
Okay.
We're
just
and
looking
I-
for
and
the
the letter
support of the museum then, because I can do that.
Okay. Yes, and we're actually looking at to show you our commitment to Route 66. We will probably be making a donation to the museum, to help the museum come along. And I've visited the museum twice, and it's a fantastic museum. And again, it's really fun to be in Kingman and look at all the fun things you can do with Route 66 in Kingman.
Well, Seth, you'll have to come back. I'm the museum director. We got more to show you, so come back and see it.
Yeah, well, and also I'm a civil engineer, so we're always trying to get a little civil engineering perspective in that, some of that history too, because sometimes we feel like we're maybe underappreciated.
Good, let's talk.
My question is exactly what do we need to do to proceed with this?
I think in your packets should be the letter that I sent to Josh. That kind of outlines what we're looking for from you all. If there's any specific questions on that, or you need more clarification on that, you know, please ask that, or, you know, if you want to email me back or work through Josh on that. You know, I think that's just a letter, and I think I don't know if it goes through you all and then to the council, or just through you all, that just says that, you know, we're willing to work with you to host a plaque, and we'll, you know, coordinate with you on that. And then we'll see, you know, how we do with the fundraising. But I think the main thing that the National ASCE wants is, of course, a place where a lot of people will see it. And also it's in a secure location, so someone doesn't vandalize it or steal it. And a lot of these plaques are outside. I went to the Sydney Opera House, and their plaques outside. So, but it's in a very high traffic area, so we don't necessarily have to be on the inside.
In Chair Pro Tem, Commissioners, we do have that letter from Seth. That's something that staff can certainly coordinate to identify a location. We can always bring it back to this commission for this commission's input or approval, and move forward from there.
I think that's it. Thank you so much, Seth. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. That was a great
Yeah, sorry I couldn't be
presentation.
there in person, but yeah, thanks for your time, and thanks for the consideration of this request.
Absolutely. Okay, the next item, C, Kingman Historic Properties Inventory Project. The Kingman Historic Properties Inventory Project was awarded to Urbana Preservation and Planning, LLC. Staff will be given an update, information only.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. So just to give you an update, we did put out the request for proposals for doing a historic survey. This is something to go beyond the surveys that we've had in the past. And we got 4 proposals back in. The one that we selected, Urbana Preservation and Planning LLC, is out of Prescott, Arizona. We selected them for a number of reasons. One is the work product would be the property of the city. That wasn't the way it was going to be with all the different proposals, and some of them weren't very clear, but it was very important to us that whatever resulted from the study, that we'd have the ability to use it in any way that we saw fit. And then it also included documentation and evaluation up to 100 properties on the Arizona Historic Property Inventory, which is a very extensive process. A couple of them didn't really give a designation amount, or had 50 properties. There was one that had more, but there were other reasons that we chose this one because of how extensive they went into making their property selections. They've also conducted similar other historic surveys in Iowa, California, and Arizona, so they have really good a good understanding of how this goes. And they've also had experience on working on a project with the City of Kingman and ADOT. Just last year, there was a Route 66 segment historic property survey report that they'd conducted. So they've got some pretty good understanding, and already have been introduced to the city. They've got 5 key key personnel that'll be on the project, each kind of covering a different specific area. So we've got a pretty good team. And then they expressed in their presentation an understanding of our history and possible themes and patterns, which is something that we're really keen on understanding how we can build a survey to look at the different areas of our history. So what they'd pointed out were things such as our transportation and travel pathways from the 1880s all the way to the 1970s, mining industry in the 1880s to 1920s, yucca fiber industry in the 1910s, wartime activities in the Great Depression, 1918 to 1945, post-World War II residential commercial development, 1945 to 68, recreation and leisure, 1900s and 1980s, as well as heritage tourism from 1920s to 1980s, and architectural styles and property types from the 1880s to 1980s. So they were really looking at some different things that they could look at, and that was just in giving their presentation or proposal to pick up the project. So the pricing proposal was our full budget, not to exceed $33,000, and that technically will start December 1. We're going to have our kickoff meeting on December 4th. That's next Thursday, and then the project is to conclude by June 30, 2026. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Okay, item 5, announcements by commission members. Limited to announcements, board and commission liaison reports, availability, attendance at conferences and seminars. I don't think we have anything.
I have a few things I'd like to bring up.
Okay.
One of the things I'd like to mention is that the Grandview Pool to have improvements made to it, and they're going to add additional equipment there. So I was excited about that. It was built in the 1950s, I believe, and so it's a historical landmark. So that was good. I was excited. Also, I think that was the only one I had for this part. Let me see.
I lifeguarded at that pool.
Did you? Yeah. I guess, Josh, I might ask about this too. I went to a Parks and Recreation Commission meeting last week, and they brought up the silhouette at Lewis Kingman Park and said that that would be coming to the Heritage Group for recommendation.
We have no plans. If that's something that you'd like to have brought to the commission, we can certainly do that.
I think would be good for us to be able to talk about that.
Okay, and that would be, let's save that to request number 6, and stick to announcements.
Oh, okay. I guess an announcement that I might have is that Kingman Main Street received notice today. Exciting. Well, I did something wrong on my phone. Try that again. It says, it's a pleasure to inform you that Kingman Main Street has been awarded a $10,000 grant from the Preserve Route 66 Combined Grant Program 2025 to support your KMS Historic Hotel Bill neon sign restoration project. The National Trust is very supportive of this worthwhile preservation initiative, and we hope that this financial commitment will assist your organization in raising any additional funds needed for this effort. So that's $10,000 that will go towards the Hotel BL neon sign. They have applied for two $20,000 grants from the Route 66 Association. I'm waiting to hear back on that. So these are funds that would be used to be matching funds, I believe. So, and I think that's it for that part.
Okay, thank you, Jana.
And I was just going to say, for announcements, this would be an appropriate time if new Commissioner Thompson Kinney would like to address or introduce herself to the commissioners.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for Thanks for the appointment, or however you describe that, but I am super excited. I'm a sixth generation Kingman kid, and born and raised, obviously, and my grandmother, Noreen Reichert, they called her Tiny. She was really involved in the Fire Ladies, and but she was instrumental in saving the Benelli House and making sure that was turned into a museum, and spent a lot of time there. And I had moved away for many years and came back like 9 years ago, and just have wanted to try to get involved and make sure that we can preserve our historic sites. I have a girlfriend that lives right down by the swimming pool, the Grandview. She lives on Grandview and Silver. And a couple years ago, they erected a power pole right in front of her grand view of the Wallapies. And that didn't go over too good with her. But, and that was sort of got my wheels spinning and such. And just want to make sure that, and I went to Palo Christi my whole elementary years. And so it's important. It's important to me to get involved in our history. Yeah, so I thank you guys. Look forward to working with you.
Well, thank you and welcome aboard.
Okay, item 6, requests for future reports and updates.
And so, Josh, I guess that's the time we should be asking for the Lewis Kingman Silhouette Project, a report on that. Thank
Okay.
you. Also, I was going to suggest maybe with Palo Christi, we seem to have a hard time working that out. I wonder if we could ask Dr. Dorner, maybe we could do a walkthrough like at 11:30 before one of our commission meetings, and actually see Palo Christi and progress being made, and maybe that would help us to make it work.
We can certainly look at that, probably be a little bit earlier to have enough time to walk through and then come over here, but we can reach out to her and see if she can do an on-site tour.
That'd be great. That'd be exciting to do that. Also, I think I had requested just through Joyce, and it's time to bring it up, that we have a representative from the Heritage Aviation Museum out at the airport come to give us a presentation on that. I think that would be good.
When you say aviation museum, are you referring to the Museum of Wars, or?
No.
No, this is
No,
different.
it's another
Okay,
group, yes.
okay.
They did a presentation before the city council probably a month or so ago.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Anybody want to make a
I do
motion?
have one
Yeah,
thing.
go ahead.
I'm still confused over exactly how this thing with the
If you
civil
can speak in your microphone, sorry, Walt.
I'm still confused as to how this thing with the engineers is going to go forward. I mean, clearly, we want to get something. Kingman is obviously the place where we want to have something. And what exactly has to happen from here?
We can always bring that back to a future agenda. Since that agenda item's already closed, I can't comment on that any further,
Okay.
Walt, but that's something that we can certainly bring back.
Can I add one more thing to the requests?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just recently learned that the museum has a wonderful youth program for young people to come through and learn about Kingman history in our county, that type of thing. And so I'd like to request that our vice chair do a presentation for us, or someone from the museum come and give us all the information on that, because I think it's so important for our youth to be involved in history. And with what's going on in Kingman now, the many things that are happening in I-40, and our community is just changing overall right now. And so I think it'd be wonderful to have them come and give us that information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
Okay. All right. Adjourned.